morning, Stampers. Welcome to Learning with Friends. I am Pat Fairless from Fairless Stamp and Flair. And today I have a fun gift card to share with you. I first saw this a few weeks ago. Sarah Douglas, our CEO from Stampin' shared it on one of her Facebook Lives. And she made it on with a note card size card, and I wanted to try it with a full size card. So that's what we're going to make today. Let me flip my camera down and we will get started. All right, first let me show you the card that we are going to make. There's my envelope. I am using the Season of Green and Gold suite of products. There is very, very little stamping with this card. Most of it is all from the Season of Green and Gold Designer Series paper. And the images are die cut with the Golden Greenery dies from Golden Greenery bundle. But here's the fun part. There's this tiny little gift bag on the inside that holds your gift card. So the main thing I want to show you today is how to make this inside. We will go ahead and make the whole card. We're going to do a slightly revised version of it. I'm still using the Season of Green and Gold, but I'm going to turn it into a birthday card just because I need some birthday cards, and I think this would work for a birthday card. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to do the front of the card first, just for grins. Normally we don't do the whole card, but let's just go ahead and do the front first. This is the easy part, and then we can focus on the little gift bag on the inside. And I say easy part. Honestly, that little gift bag is not hard at all. So it's all easy. It's all good. But I'm using the Eyelet 3D embossing folder and just adding a panel on the front to give it a little bit of texture. I like to do that rather than just have plain. Now, this particular layout that I have on this card here is one of my go-to layouts. I use this layout all the time. It's basically comprised of 3 different shapes: a long, narrow rectangle, another rectangle that's a little shorter, and either a circle or any shape you want. And the nice thing about this is you can lay this in many different positions. So here's how I had it. But you can lay it like this. You can put it over here on the horizontal in the portrait version or landscape version, and do it like this. There's just tons of ways to just rearrange these 3 kind of generic pieces. And that's what I like about it, because it just makes it really easy. Now, to make it even easier for myself today, I am just going to do what I did on the sample. We could play around, but I don't want to take time thinking about that. I just want to get to that little gift bag. And so let's just go ahead and get these pieces on here. The first layer, I've already done a lot of the work, so we can save quite a bit of time here. I just layer these directly onto the card front. You could put them with dimensionals. The next layer, I do put this on typically with dimensionals, and we're going to put these on next. So let me just get these adhered to this little circle here. First couple, I am just going to put directly on my die cut circle. Now, to be honest, I could just put, I wouldn't even need a circle. I could just put images on here, but I thought it kind of got lost a little bit behind the paper, and it helped to have this die cut circle. So that's what I went ahead and did. And so the first 2 on here, I am just pretty much adhering them down directly. And then this last one, I'm going to use some dimensionals and pop it up. And I probably actually want some little ones out here. If you're wondering why my dimensionals are funky colors, it's because I take a highlighter and I scribble on them. That way, if I see color, I know I haven't pulled the backing off. I have a bad habit of missing one or so, and then I'm like, why is this not sticking well? Well, it's not sticking well because I didn't get them all off. So I think I saw this from Sharon Armstrong. So she says just scribble some lines on there with your highlighter. Usually I use these green ones, but I had my orange one handy this time. So that one you definitely don't miss. Those are a little louder, right? But that's okay. That's kind of the purpose. All right, and I'm going to put this on with dimensionals. So I do have 2 layers of dimensionals here. Put that one over now. It's really stuck. There we go. And let's just go ahead and put this about. I kind of center it in the intersection. It's not. It's wherever you like it, right? And my sentiment is made from, the dies here are from Peaceful Seasons. Peaceful Season, I think it's season, not seasons. And I am just going to put that on here. Like I said, I grabbed a stamp set with a birthday sentiment in it rather than Christmas. I need to go count my Christmas cards to see how many I have made. I think I'm getting close, but I don't do a lot with gift cards, so I thought I'd stand a better chance of using a gift card with a birthday. So there we go. Now all we need is our bow, and this bow I put on here, I call this a faux bow. If you look at my tutorials, you'll often see me refer to a faux bow. And basically what I do is I just wrap this about 3 times around my fingers just to get a rough length on it, cut it, and then you need a little extra piece to just tie it in the center. And then I just take this and I weave it back and forth. And the nice part is when it looks messy, it looks good. Unlike if you're trying to make like a really fancy bow and you just want it to look nice and pretty. This one, you really kind of like it to look messy. So I'm just going to wrap this around here. This is where you could actually use a 3rd finger to kind of do this. Yep, I grabbed the wrong thing. So let's try that again. It's hardest. The hardest part about this bow is tying that little piece in a knot in the center, just because you need a 3rd finger. I usually have a little clip around, but I don't have it with me today. So make it 3 loops on each side and then just kind of pull them. They don't need to be equal. You kind of really don't want them equal. Messy is good. So let's try this again. Usually my 3rd finger is my mouth, so I might have to do that in order to get this done for you without taking too much time. All right, get in there. There we go. One more time. And I made it plenty long, so that is not my problem. All right. I needed to use my teeth to pull one side of it. So we're just going to squeeze this tight and now tie it in a second double knot. And now you can fluff it up, adjust the loops a little bit if you want, whatever you want, but that is basically it. And then I just take a glue dot and pick the glue dot up behind the bow. Gotta pick it up. Don't leave it on the strip. And then we just stick that down. Okay. And that is my faux bow. I think they're really pretty. They just kind of add a little zhuzh. I leave all the tails on. Makes it look a little messier. So our card front is now finished. And we are going to start working on the little bag. But before we put the bag in, let's just put our inside in here. And then we're going to get to the part that you really want to learn. You need this in before you attach the bag. Okay? So let's get these things out of our way here. And I'm going to bring in my trimmer because we're going to do some scoring. And this card, the Christmas version of this card, right here, this will be on my Fearless Stamp & Flair website tomorrow. And there will be a tutorial that you can download. This is that tutorial. So this is kind of the directions to complete the front of the card, which gives you all the dimensions for my favorite little sketch layout. And then page 2 has dimensions for the pieces on the inside. Now this card, I made a boo-boo when I went to stamp my sentiment, and I kind of muffed it. I think I dropped my stamp or something, so I had an ink muff. I'm like, oh, I already had everything else done. I didn't want to start over. So I just decided to cover it up, stamp the sentiment again, and die cut it with one of the Peaceful Season dies. I really liked how it turned out. I might do that more. It's a great way to use up little pieces of cardstock. But I'm going to show you how to make this bag. So this is another piece from the Designer Series paper, Season of Green and Gold. This is what we're going to use. And it measures 9.5 by 3 3/4. Don't worry about getting the dimensions because, like I said, you can go download this tutorial. You'll have it all. It will have a link on there to this video as well. So there are 3 diagrams on here, and we're just going to walk through them. So the first one we start with is our piece that's 3 3/4 by 9.5. And we are going to score this at 1 inch. I have to make sure I get my scoring blade and not my cutting blade. And get this down in here. So at 1 inch, and since this is Designer Series paper, be a bit careful, at 3 1/4. And in that direction, that is all the scoring. And that completes this diagram. What I did want to show you is there's a green arrow on here. And if you have directional Designer Series paper, this one is not really directional. It can go any direction. But I had made myself a little template here to help me figure this out. And I used this paper and it was directional. And I'm like, oh, which way do I score it to make sure once I make my bag, my pattern is going in the right direction. So that's what this arrow tells you. This shows that you want your pattern, if you have directional paper, going in this direction towards the top, because this line here is going to be the top of your little bag, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. And it's written here in case you forget. So now we're gonna go to page 3, and there are 2 diagrams here. We are now going to score in the opposite direction. And what's important here is now your top edge is down here. So I took this paper and I rotated it counterclockwise 90 degrees. And we are then going to score at these dimensions along here. And they're all on there. So it's at a 1/2 inch. I have to pay attention. See this? Here's a 1/2 inch. 1 inch. This is making the little gusset on the side of the bag. 1 inch. And then the next one is 4.5 inches. And we're going to need to open this up. So we've done the 1, the 1/2, the 1, and the 4.5. We're now going to do 5. And this is the little gusset at the other side. So it's like a 1/2 inch gusset and 5.5. So that makes our little, I guess you'd call it a 1 inch gusset. So now we've got these 3 done, and then we're going to go all the way over here and do it at 9 inches. And since this is 9.5, that gives us a 1/2 inch on the other side for our gusset. What did I do? 9. Not 9.25, 9. Okay. And that is all of our scoring. So let me just get that out of the way. And I'm going to now take this and I'm going to take my bone folder here. And we're just going to give these all kind of a good crease. This 1 inch side up here is going to be the top of your bag. All right. And once I get these creased, we are going to do just a little bit of cutting with our paper snips. And that is the diagram number 3. Shows you how to cut this. Okay, so now here back to our diagram. And see the 1 inch piece is at the bottom, so that's how you want to lay this to determine where you're going to cut. And you're going to cut out each corner and then these 2 center pieces. All right, so let me grab my scissors. And we are just going to snip all of these out. Just follow along the score lines and snip them out. And here in the center, we're going to take that whole little section. It is a little bit hard to see on this foil in the lights. And let's work our way all around. Now these pieces are 1 inch little corners. They are different size, but don't let that confuse you. Just make sure when you look at the templates and do this, that you have your paper laying per the in the position of the template. And as soon as I get these cut, I think you will see that more clearly. All right. Get rid of those. So let me bring this back. So now you can see this is this. I have all of these corners cut out, these little blue shaded areas. All right. Now the next step here is we're going to put some tear and tape on here. And in this case, the tear and tape is on the right side of the paper. So for these 3 pieces in yellow, it's on the right side. And it looks like I gotta make an update on here, but where's my tear and tape? Here it is. So we're gonna put a piece along this edge, this bottom little section, and this little section over here. Okay, on this side. And I will update this tutorial because for some reason I thought I deleted it. I know it's on a different tutorial. Let me see if I have a different one here. Yeah. All right, here's the same template, and you can see the yellow means it's on the right side of the paper, and the white means it's on this back side of the paper. But before we do that, we are going to take this. You can see I've got 3 little pink dots here. Those are holes that we're just going to punch in here for our little thread or ribbon for our bag handles. So now we can measure this carefully if we want. Or you can eyeball it. I went about 1/4 of an inch up from the score line, about 1/4 of an inch, and about 3/4 of an inch in. So if I look where that is, that's somewhere in the middle of this, and it's about 3/4 of the way in. So right about there. And just make a hole. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing over on this side. And again, from this score line, go over 3/4 of an inch and make a hole. And we'll do it on this side too. Now we could do these all at once. It just makes, if you do it at once, one's getting punched from the back to the front, and the other is then getting punched from the front to the back. And you kind of really want them from the front to the back. You can fix it, but you get these bumps on the front that you aren't really after. So I learned the hard way. Just punch them all from the front. Now, we're going to take our tear and tape, and where these holes are, this is probably really, really hard to see. I don't know if that helps. It does not. You can't see it. But these holes are here, and we're just going to lay our tear and tape right on this center panel here, underneath those holes. Okay. And this is going to hold our little cording or our thread, ribbon, whatever we use, in place. And it's also going to hold our flap down. So now I'm going to take, I'm using this little Simply Elegant trim, I think it's called. I know it's retired, but we're going to feed that through and lift up our tear and tape and just take this and push the cord down into that tear and tape. And then we're going to do it on the same thing on the other side. And you can measure this. I think I measured one of them and it was about 5 inches, or you can just eyeball it. And we're going to stick this through the hole. And let's just take this right off and go ahead and push this down onto that tear and tape so it sticks. You got to push it pretty good. And then we fold this over, and that holds it all in place. And that's how we get our little bags. They're cute. So let's do the same thing on the other side. Push that down in there. I like to leave this here in case I don't want to bump it and get it something stuck, I don't want it to be stuck. So now I can take this and close it if I want and just kind of loop it and make it the same length as the other one. Again, I think I measured them when I did it and it was around 5 inches, seemed to work well. So if you are someone who likes to know the dimensions to cut your ribbon, I would cut it 5 inches and go from there. And we'll push this on, push this down, and push that down. There we go. Okay, now these pieces, if they're not lined up great, just kind of trim them off and even them out. And you might even want to just make a slight little wedgie cut here so you don't see it up on the top of your bag. Very, very little. And we are now going to adhere these two together. Okay, so I've got my tear tape. I'll just pull that off. And we're gonna line these two pieces up. And that makes our bag. What did I do wrong? Oh, I see what I did wrong. I missed a score here. Okay, we got this a little bit off. So let's just take this. Okay, my bows are, my handles aren't going to be totally even. But here we go. There's our bag. Okay. And you can lay this down and just kind of to get it to lay as flat as you can. This should have been over there. I measured from the wrong place. All right. Follow the directions. Don't follow the video on that part. So this is done. Now the only thing left to do is to adhere this to the inside of the card. I got a little tape here where I don't want it. I'm going to trim my tear and tape just a smidge. Excuse me. All right, now to mount this to the inside of the card. Oh, excuse me. I had to grab a drink here. Developed a froth. All right, so we're going to take off our tear and tape on both sides. And we're going to leave this flat like this. And we're just going to lay this in the center vertically and put this edge up against the fold and close your card and give it a good rub. And when we open it up, there we go. Isn't that cute? And you can take a little piece of tissue, tuck it in there like I did on the sample. But that is basically our little baggie for our gift card. Cute, easy, right? Now I have 2 other cards I'm going to show you. We've got these 2 which we copied. And my flaps match the bags, so we'll put those over here. And then I have 2 more. I did do 1 note card. That's what Sarah had made. So I thought I'd do a note card, and here's my little note card. This is made with the Love and Strength stamp set and Unbounded Beauty designer paper. Kept the front pretty simple, but here's my little bag on the inside. Now, you can see with the note card, it's obviously smaller, right? And you probably need to tuck your tissue paper if you don't want it peeking out. You need to tuck it in a little further than the other one so it doesn't stick out. but it works great. Great little gift. And the last one I made with the Full of Life designer series paper. It's called Full of Life. I love, love, love this designer series paper. And I got the front of the card done. I got the inside of the card done. And I went to make the little bag. And I'm like, uh-oh, I have a problem. This paper is 6 by 6. And I need a 9.5-inch piece to make the bag. So how do I do this? And I played around and I used my little template here and figured out how to make this template in 2 pieces using 2 pieces of 6 by 6. So if you love 6 by 6 designer paper, some of that's your favorite, I will put the tutorial for this one in the link at the bottom of this video. This will be the tutorial. I will double check this one looks like I got my tear and tape on here correctly, but you're going to see that you start with 2 pieces of cardstock, one at 4.5 by 3 3/4, the other 5.5 by 3 3/4, and then the scoring's on here, and it shows you how to attach them. So that'll allow you to make these cute little bags from 6 by 6 paper also. Cute, right? I love this paper. This paper is so much fun. And there's all different patterns. There's dots and circles and triangles and pretty swooshy watercolor pieces. So there we go. That is our cards for today. Let me flip my camera back. All right. I hope it made sense. Sometimes things make sense to me, or at least they seem like they make sense to me, but they might not make sense to you. So if you have any questions, please just leave a comment with your question and I will do my very best to answer it. Tomorrow's website will show the tutorial for if you have 12 by 12 designer series paper, and the link below will show it for a piece of 6 by 6 or 2 pieces of 6 by 6. So you'll have them both. But again, if you have questions or something doesn't make sense, just ask. I'm here to help. That's what learning with friends is all about, is we're here to learn together. And you can see I screwed up my little demonstration today a bit too, but it's all good. It'll still work, and somebody will like the little baggie. I'm sure they'll just like what's in it, right? So they won't care that the little handles are crooked. It'll bother me, but they won't care. They won't know. They'll just think that's the way it was supposed to be. I don't know. So anyway, have a great day, friends. See you next week with something else. And it's Fun Fold week next week, because actually it is Thanksgiving Day. I will be pre-recording. Most of these videos actually are pre-recorded, but next week's for sure will be pre-recorded, and it'll be a fun fold. I've got it picked out already. I haven't tried it yet though. It's a new one for me, so I'm hoping it works. If it doesn't work, I'll come up with something else. So have a great day. Have a great rest of your week, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.